Right then, Cloverfield Paradox. The movie that came out of utterly nowhere. Now, we were rumoured to be getting this to Netflix, but apparently it was confirmed and they kept that quiet. Good one for the marketing there, but hey, nice to see it drop, a nice surprise. So, what is this movie about? Obviously, this is the third instalment of the Cloverfield franchise. I'm very surprised to see this on Netflix, to be perfectly honest, as I do feel this could have been on the big screen, but hey, whatever. Now, a lot of people aren't aware that Cloverfield does actually have a universe. They're all tediously connected via the online viral marketing. First and second were connected via Tagarato, a in-universe company. And this one is, again, very much connected, which you see in the movie and in the viral marketing. Now, this will be a spoiler review. I'm just going to get into the nitty-gritty of it. What the hell is this movie about? Well, I guess you can probably tell me as much as I could tell you, to be honest. This movie is quite interesting. It opens up the franchise to multiple dimensions, multiple universes, and I feel that's probably how they're going to start to connect them together now, to be perfectly honest. The first and second movie were very tediously connected, but this one is quite connected to the first one, I would say. A lot of people will kind of agree with me in terms of the last money shot of this film. So like I say, what is this movie about? Well, it opens up the universe to multiple dimensions and alternate realities via a particle accelerator. The whole world has gone to complete crap. Oil crisis, energy, everyone's fighting everyone. It's essentially the World War III scenario for energy supplies. So what they've done, they've built a space station which hosts a particle accelerator of massive proportions to harness a specific type of new energy, basically. They shoot it into space because obviously it's the safest place to perform those type of experiments. And after lots and lots of tries, they eventually succeed in firing the particle accelerator, but all goes to hell. What happens? Well, the Earth disappears. They find themselves on another part of space and potentially in an alternate reality or an alternate universe. Strange things happen because obviously particles are fighting for space. Apparently, anyway, that's kind of how they explain it in universe, and this leads to some kind of alien body horror style scenes, which were quite good, to be perfectly honest. And on Earth, something is happening, not overly explained, but it does link it more towards the first movie than it does the second. So that being said, the movie trundles along, stuff happens in space, and they eventually fire it up and work themselves back to our original universe, or their original universe, and hey, that's basically the story. Now, there's a lot of cliches that happen in this movie, and a lot of bits and pieces which you can kind of feel were not intended to be part of the Cloverfield franchise. And that is where I feel that this universe suffers on a whole, because all of the scripts now, moving forwards, have been retrofitted into the universe. Now, the first one was obviously intended to be a Cloverfield film. All the others moving forward were scripts that were kind of sat there and repurposed. They were retooled, rewrote with some additions so they could fit into this franchise. And this is where I feel it starts to suffer. But I do think that this movie worked on a whole. It was interesting. I won't say it was a great movie. Would I say it was good? Meh. I guess it was alright. Like, it's an hour and 42 minutes. And it is... You can kind of feel that time. Like, it does drag in moments. And I feel that is, again, the pacing was a little bit off here and there, basically. But it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. The effects were great. Some of the cinematography was genuinely superb. I am surprised what the end edit would have been, because this movie went to Netflix, again, the rumours anyway. It went to Netflix because J.J. Abrams was forced to abandon editing this film and go and work on something else. So I am very curious at what the end edit would have been and what J.J. Abrams would have kind of wanted for this movie, the end result anyway. So how is this all kind of connected? Well, basically, we have the Slusho, which is in the first ARG, the viral marketing, and it is in the film, the first film, and that's in this. That does feature in this film, a little kind of bobblehead, Slusho bobblehead. And then also, what I mentioned earlier is kind of what is happening on Earth while this space station is running amok. There are giant monsters. And it is the Cloverfield monster. It has returned, but it is of massive proportion. But apparently there's a lot more of them. The chap that we're following on Earth is the husband of one of the space station operatives anyway, states these things, and then obviously we see them. So there are multiple Cloverfield monsters now, apparently, which again kind of makes sense, I guess. Now, I'm not overly sure whether this is the same universe. I know a lot of people will probably cry out and go, yes, this confirms, and it is directly linked to the first movie. But I don't, strictly speaking, think that that is the case, because yes, although the space station lands in the ocean, it landed in the ocean. That was a live feed from the alternate reality. So whether the creatures got warped from the alternate reality into the original reality, it's a whole mess. But I do think it's a good film. It's not great by any stretch of the imagination. The acting is fairly fine. It's very believable. We've got some great actors in there. The cast is pretty good, to be honest. We've got a very talented cast. Daniel Bruhl, for starters. A lot of people remember him from The Winter Soldier. Chris O'Dowd, everyone will remember him. Elizabeth Debicki, so on and so forth. And the actors carry this film. It's quite well acted, to be perfectly honest. It's not Oscar performances by any stretch of the imagination, but it is not bad. The effects, as I said, were great. I enjoyed the effects, but the story and the pacing is quite off in parts, and I feel, like I say, it does suffer as a result of that. And more than anything, it suffers because this film was retrofitted into the Cloverfield franchise. It does make me more and more interested now, hearing that the fourth movie has been filmed and is basically ready to go, how that is now going to fit into this, because obviously this movie opens up the alternate realities and different dimensions, but it also opened up the fact that time can be altered by the particle accelerator. You can move backwards and forwards in time, which they did. So whether that has a play on the World War II element, which is supposed to feature in Cloverfield Overlord, I'm not overly sure, but hey, whatever. I am more intrigued than anything to see how the fourth one fits into this. I think what is good about this franchise is that the films alone are pretty decent. They're not great, but they are pretty decent. And they do make you curious as to the next one and as to how they're supposed to fit in. These are, in essence, like a Twilight Zone, but this movie proved more than ever that the universe is starting to become more and more connected. But I do feel that Cloverfield Overlord is probably just going to throw that out, which is a bit of a shame. So my overall verdict, yeah, it's fine. It's on Netflix. If you've got Netflix, it's basically free. So go and watch it, grab some beers, enjoy it. But bear in mind that the pacing does slow down. The body horror elements were good. They were interesting and they made sense in universe. But on a whole, don't rush out to see it. I can understand now why it didn't go to the big screen, but I would have liked to see it on a big screen. I think it would have looked fantastic on a big screen, but I do think it would have probably suffered at the box office. So I think Netflix made the right decision to acquire this movie, and I think they're probably going to be doing the right thing by acquiring the next one. It would be good if we got some notifications next time, that this is probably going to happen, and you can market it a little bit better rather than just dropping it for everyone, because it kind of ruins my life a little bit and I've got to watch it at last minute and do a review on it. So good one. But as always, guys, I would be interested to hear whether you enjoyed this, because I feel that this is going to be quite divisive. A lot of people aren't aware that these movies are connected and that this is the third one. So I would like to know what you thought of this movie, whether you liked it, how you feel it fits into the Cloverfield universe, and whether you think it is more connected to the first one than it is the second, and how you think it is connected. So give it a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this review. I know I've kind of rabbited on a little bit, but hey, this is kind of what you come to expect now. As always, guys, I have been Mr. H. Until next time, I will catch you in the comment section.